Welcome to this next edition of Peter's Perspectives. In this edition, I'm going to build on what we talked about last time. That is, the need to create a sustainable pipeline of talent, engineering and IT talent, that our companies increasingly depend upon. Now, in my last video, we talked about the fact that the world is going through a step change in the requirement for this, and we're going to be looking at shortages for the foreseeable future. And that the traditional strategies of just paying more and recruiting more intensively will not be sustainable over this period of time. So what are our options? Well, first, we must think about expanding the labor pool. And how do we do that? Well, as a research organization, Everest has one of the foremost or the foremost location talent practices. And we can point you to numerous cities and countries where there are pockets of this talent, of high quality engineering and IT talent that are underutilized. For example, if you were to look at the talent pool in Jamaica, you would find a rich source of financial, fintech, and banking talent, engineering talent that is underdeployed in Jamaica. Likewise, there are cities across India and Philippines, Eastern Europe, countries and cities in Eastern Europe, which have these pockets of labor. Now, historically, to put a center in is expensive and it needs scale. But the world has changed. We now know a lot more about putting these centers in. There are a lot of services that dramatically reduce the cost and the risk of putting a center in and make these micro centers much more affordable, much more easier to run. So you want to consider that. Alternatively, you can turn to third-party providers which utilize this capability to create a labor source for you. Another way to expand the labor pool is to capitalize on the learnings from COVID. Now, in COVID, as we all know, we all moved work from home. We can use the same techniques and the same capabilities to access a much broader labor pool, both in our countries and in other countries. So, for example, if you are looking for IT and engineering talent in the United States, you no longer have to look in your cities. You can look across the United States and we can go find these individuals wherever they are. So, for example, I live in the Vail Valley, and there are numerous underemployed engineers and IT talent in the Vail Valley which could be deployed for the right firm if you will let them live there. Likewise, many small towns have some of this talent, and the work from home vehicles allow us to access this talent now in a different way than we had before. And again, we can use third parties if we wish to, who can do this for us and provide us this talent. Now, yet another way of addressing this issue is to reinstitute our pipelines from campus to workforce. Now, 30 years ago, many firms had built these capabilities. We would take talent out of the campuses and we would bring them and nurture them and bring them into our workforces. Largely, we've got rid of these capabilities. Perhaps it's time to rebuild that capability so you can assure yourself of a assured supply of excellent talent that fits your requirements. This requires relationships with universities and infrastructure. Once more, that infrastructure can be built or leased from third parties, or you can go to third parties who are doing this on their own behalf and can provide you the talent. A final aspect, or yet another one, is leveraging the boot camps. In boot camps, they recruit from other areas of industry for people who have inclination and talent, retrain them, and bring them into our workforce. So we can think of building a talent flow using the boot camps, building relationship with these boot camps to ensure that we get quality candidates that are adequately trained to fit in our environment.